So,
Kingdom.
yeah, we'll bring it to the United Kingdom. So, in the UK rap scene, there is seemingly a new trend going on among UK rappers where they're starting to reclaim or rep this idea of Britishness a lot more. And what I mean by that is you'll see a lot of rappers sporting the Union Jack on their person, on singles, accessories. You had Jim Legxacy, he dropped an album called Black British Music. You have artists like YT using the Union Jack iconography in videos and stuff. And this is like underground rappers for the most part. And it's something that has, and we're going to get into Afro Surrealists a little bit later, dropped an album called by British. Album cover, Union Jack iconography. So it seems like there's a real like emphasis on reclaiming the Union Jack and the idea of Britishness, especially as someone and people who are black, right? So it just seems like that's the case. And in an interview that YT did with The Basement, he basically reaffirmed that kind of thing where it's like, we have our own spin on Britishness because we're black and we're British sort of thing. So we're trying to like rep that side of ourselves in our music and the way we move and et cetera, et cetera. And it's an interesting trend, but a lot of people and a lot of commentators in the scene kind of want to see more from these artists. They want to see more than them just repping the Union Jack just because that's what it is. They want to see more meaning and substance behind why they do that. Not just as a message to say I'm black and I'm British sort of thing. People like Elijah, friend of the pod Naz, have pretty much said those things to that effect. And I'm just wondering if that's a fair thing to say and a fair thing to argue about. And I just kind of just wanted to open up the floor to everybody just to ask about how we feel about that sort of thing, because it's coming at a very interesting time. I mean, last week, if you're UK-based or London-based, you would have seen 100,000 people in Waterloo, Blackfriars, just central London, white people for the most part, but there were non-white people there as well, joining this Tommy Robinson-led march where they were trying to unite the kingdom, as it were. British flags, Scottish flags, English flags, but also a lot of MAGA hats, a lot of like nationalists, let's call it what it is, racist people over there as well, trying to reclaim this idea of British as well. So it's coming at a very interesting time where the actual definition of British on both sides is being like, it's feeling like it's either being lost or it's being like subverted in some way. So this debate has come at a very interesting time. But yeah, I guess I just wanted to open up the floor and first of all, just ask you guys, like, what do you think about the idea of like artists in their art, especially if they're black and British, reclaiming that kind of idea for themselves and spinning it into something that's comfortable for them, and then going into the idea of like, do they need to do more beyond that?
Man, that's a loaded question, boy. Like, where do you even start with that, man?
Yeah, it's an interesting one.
Yeah, I mean, let's. I'm gonna start with like simplifying it. I don't think there's anything wrong with trying to give something else a meaning that maybe hasn't been there before. If we're talking about like reclaiming something, I think it's important to look at like how that's being done. Now, I don't think it will ever be enough, if we're talking music, I don't think it will ever be enough to only do that through imagery. I think the imagery has to match up with the music. So if they're trying to reclaim the Union Jack flag, which I think is, boy, what do I want to say here?
Speak your mind.
I don't think you can reclaim that flag, personally. I think it means what it means and it's represented what it's represented, man. We're going back to like colonial times and that, man. I don't think there's any reclaiming that. So I think that's a separate conversation to identifying with being British and representing that part of yourself. I think those are two separate things. Now, with your music, if you're going to talk about representing being British, or if you are going to attempt to reclaim something like the Union Jack, in the music there has to be commentary on that. It can't just be a case of talking about your personal experiences. There has to be commentary on what's going on in the country and the landscape of what it means to walk as a black British individual. And so that's where I am with it at the moment. I find it difficult to accept artists that are trying to reclaim the flag. I just don't think it's something that can be done personally. And you said that new trend, and I find that to be quite interesting because randomly my brain went back to that Sway, because he used to run around with the Union Jack like bandana and that, and I always found that to be quite interesting. But I don't think he ever really spoke about it in his music. He would talk about his own personal experiences and even like being from Ghana as well and what that meant for him. But I don't know if he ever really touched on the Union Jack aspect of things. So I find that to be quite interesting. But I don't remember any critics ever saying anything about it though. Same thing with Stormzy when he was at Glastonbury.
Yeah.
When he wore the Banksy design, was the bulletproof vest.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember if anyone was really talking about him reclaiming that flag. So why is it with these artists, these younger artists that are doing it, why is it now people are talking about, there's a trend and people trying to reclaim the flag?
I think it's just because Sway was one person, Stormzy was one person. We're talking about like a whole conglomerate of artists who are following this idea of reclaiming the flag and reclaiming Britishness. So I guess it's more en masse than it maybe ever has been, in a sense.
I agree with that.
Yeah, and I think that lends to the idea of it being a trend, or maybe not necessarily, maybe a trend is the wrong word, but like, for what it is, essentially is a trend sort of thing. So I guess that's just kind of how I see it. I mean, I guess for me, I'm with you in a sense of like, my relationship with like the Union Jack is a complicated one because we know what it is, right? Like, it represents slavery, it represents colonialism, it represents discrimination, prejudice, all these things. Now, being black and British is already such a complex thing because you're having to balance your British experiences, your British upbringing, but also with your black experiences and your black upbringing and everything that goes in between. And if you think about some of the artists mentioned, they talk about their experiences as black British people by proxy of being in Britain, in London, growing up, going through life, etc., etc. It isn't always as explicit as talking about the idea of being black and British, but more so just about here are my experiences
of growing up in the hood,
basically, which is valid in and of itself. But I guess to your point, and I guess to the point of many commentators who were saying you need to go beyond just repping it, you need to talk about what your relationship is to that, what your proximity is to the idea of it, which I feel like there's room for it all. There's room for you to talk about your experiences, and there's also room for you to talk about how the notion of you being black British affects you, right? And how you see it and how you've seen it change, because it has changed. Like, it's now very normal to say you are black and British, whereas before, Britishness was coded for whiteness, right? And over the years, so many things have happened, and obviously generations and generations of black people have laid down roots here and have become part of the fabric. I mean, we rebuilt the country after the Second World War. Well, the Caribbeans did, shout out to y'all. And that's what it is. That's history. That's fact. You can't get past that. So we're part of the furniture at this point. But what does that look like as far as like evaluating and assessing your relationship to that? So I guess in that regard, and I guess also like a lot of these artists are still quite young, figuring it out, early 20s, this, that, and the other. So I guess it's about an identity, like trying to find some kind of identity in and of that. And, being British is a very powerful identity because it is so unique. And then you add the blackness factor to it. It makes for so many different stories and perspectives that you could go down, right?
But who's the messaging to? Like, who are these artists talking to? Who are they?
For the rest of the world.
Who are they trying to reclaim this flag to?
For the rest of the world.
Because are they talking to us? Are they talking to the man that are here? Or are they talking to?
I don't think they are. I think they're talking to everyone else.
So then, if they're talking to people outside of the UK, then man, they got to be a bit more responsible.
That's
why
I don't know. I think they're talking to everybody. But
to me, I'm in a very awkward position with this, and I'm going to be careful about what I say personally. I'll be real, because I think there's two things going on. I think you can talk about being black and being in England all you want. I think you can talk about the nuanced experience of being a black British in the UK until Kingdom comes. We've seen bare rappers do, we've seen Rich do, we've seen a lot of rappers talk about their upbringing and what it's brought upon them. The flag, to me, however, I'm just not with it. And I understand you can be trying to, like, you can want to reclaim it, I guess, on some, like, no, this is my country, this is where I'm from. But you got to understand what that flag brings. And you got to understand to what the flag means to certain people. And it's what the conversation I think you was about to lead to. And it's what's the messaging you're giving. If the messaging is given to the rest of the world, like, no, I'm a proud a black British, and I'm proud of the flag. Are you really? Do you get what I mean? Like, is that something you could really be proud of? Or are you just having the flag for the sake of it? Like, I'm in a very uncomfortable position when I see our UK rappers run around with a flag and we hold it to esteem. I don't think that's something we should hold to esteem. I think you could talk about the nuance of being black and British all day long. I think you could talk about that forever. I think it's different when you take pride in now a flag that's brought in so many past things. I just don't.
And maybe, but sorry to cut you. Maybe that's where they're trying to like reclaim it. Though,
I don't think you can reclaim it, bro.
Well, no, we can flip it in it because black people. There's always been a presence here. There's always been a black presence in Britain. There's never not been.
I agree.
Like, we go back and let me not even go there. It's always been there, right? So if we're gonna shoot these artists on bail, they could be reclaiming something that was always here. But but it's just a case of reminding people.
But can I bring a counter
or renewing the thought about us being here?
Yeah, but
so that's one argument, and then another point is if where I was going is if the messaging is just to let the rest of the world that they're British, I need more than that.
What do you mean?
I need more commentary. I need more. I need them to be a bit more responsible than just like flashing the flag. I need you to talk about like the climate of what's happening here right now and politically what's been happening here. But it's not just a case of saying, yo, I'm black and I'm British and I'm proud. What does that mean?
But can I say something? Sorry, Yemi. You know when I don't think you can reclaim the flag anymore. I think it's past reclaiming. Personally, I just don't think. It's not cool. We've been here for so long.
I got something.
Can you argue? I don't know how long we've been here for, but can you argue it's ours to reclaim? I don't think it's ours to reclaim. And also, there's two things going on. When there's a protest, and I don't want to bring it back to the protest, but when there is a protest of like 100, 200,000 people walking around, and they're walking around with the same flag, and they're telling you it's our flag, how can we then reclaim it if they're telling us this ain't yours, this is mine? Do you get what I mean? It's like you've almost got to shut out everything that's going on and just walk around somewhat blind and be like, no, I'm still running around with a flag, but I'm just going to act obtuse to half of these people telling me that this ain't yours.
There'll be people that argue that like the flag itself isn't inherently racist, but it was co-opted by the right wing. There'll be people that say that, and to that you say what?
I saw that flag in Somalia. Well, Somaliland to be exact, but I saw that, like, you can't tell me it is. If I've seen that flag in Somaliland.
And a lot of our ancestors saw when these ships
like
were
if I saw that flag
if
I saw that flag back, well, I didn't see it personally, but you know what I mean. Like if that flag if that's the flag they used to conquer, how are we reclaiming it?
Alright, so can you reclaim the N-word?
I was about to ask that. Have we?
Now this is where it gets
There's
dicey.
been an attempt.
Can I just say something though? That's not on us to decide though. I don't think it is.
What do you mean?
I think America's decided they reclaimed it. Do you get what I mean? I don't think that's on us to decide. I don't think the N-word is on us to decide. The flag is different. I'm born here. You're born here. Okay. You're born here. Yeah. We can have a conversation about the flag all day long because we was born in this country. The N-word, if they've decided to reclaim it and they're good with that, cool. That's just, I'm just going to follow the rules there because I was never called that. However, with the flag, it's different because this is where I was born. But then I just don't think you can claim something that other people who it belongs to are telling. For example, people call the N-word in America, and then the black people decided they're going to reclaim it because they will call it the British flag, the English flag and the Union Jack. The people that own the flags are telling us this ain't yours. So how are we trying to reclaim something they're telling us don't claim?
Well, it's because we're part of the history, right? We're part of the reason why Britain is the way it is. So
what do you mean?
Naturally, I mean, listen. Black people, black communities have contributed so much to British history and British infrastructure that if you want to claim it, if you want to claim Britishness, you can, right? We were told, well, Caribbeans were told in the 40s, this is your country, you're British, come through. Come and help us. So why wouldn't they? If you're being told that.
I understand.
You know? And just to like make it a little less literal, just as far as like claiming the flag, I guess you think about, and I guess to shoot the artists some bail as well, I guess when you look at the British flag, maybe some artists look at the British flag and they think about the musical history of Britain, right? And you think about genres like grime, like drill, like funky, dubstep, all these sounds that wouldn't have been possible if it wasn't for Britain, blackness, and just a black British presence sort of thing. So I guess maybe in that regard, you're reclaiming the kind of more musical aspects of what Britain has made possible, you know?
But you can do that without the flag, no?
Maybe. But who's to say how you can do it?
Because you're doing that anywhere by just releasing music.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, but I guess...
By you speaking about your experience, your life experience of being in this country, you're already speaking about the British experience. In a sense.
I guess some people want to be more explicit with it, right? Maybe people want to be more like, yeah, this is mine.
I cringe I'll be honest with you, I cringe when I see it. Just personally, I do. And I've always been like that. I just cringe a little bit when I see... I'm not saying it's such an awkward position being black.
It's a jarring image.
Yeah, like it's so awkward because I can't tell someone don't take pride in being black British. I can't. It's just such a awkward position.
It is a bit. It is awkward.
Yeah, because I don't. If you ask me where I'm from, I'm gonna claim Somali. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm gonna say I'm Somali. I'm just.
Yeah.
My passport says black. My passport says black British.
But if I ask you where you're from,
I'm Nigerian.
Do you get what I mean? So it's, I don't think it's, and I'm not even trying to make this, I'm not trying to take this, like the conversation away from music. I'm really not. But it's just, I think being black in Britain, being raised here, is such an awkward conversation to have in what do you take pride in? Because whenever I see the videos of having a flag there or taking pride in like, yo, this is my country, like, I just take, it's a little bit like.
But if you have experiences in this country that mean a lot to you and could have only happened in this country, then you're entitled to claim it. You're
Can I ask you a
entitled.
question? By waving around the flag and by claiming this, to the naked eye, I'm saying this, not to like us lot who live here. To the naked eye, can't you also be like, yeah, that means they're with the monarchy, and do you know what I mean? Like by default, you're with the monarchy. Like you're claiming it, you love the Union Jack, you love everything that comes with the country, no? Just to the naked eye, not talk about the people that live here. I'm just saying to the outsider, someone in Australia that's watching the video.
Sure.
They could be looking at it like, yo, you co-signed the monarchy and everything. And then that's what makes it awkward for me.
So maybe some of them do.
That's a deeper conversation because then that's just insanity.
Depends though. Depends. So you and your proximity to black Britishness and someone else's are obviously very different, right?
Of course.
So while we might be on a like level with this, other people might see that and think, nah, I'm putting my own spin on it. What you man are on, that's not why I'm on. This represents something different to me. The flag is something else to me. You know what I'm saying? And it might be that idea that's driving people to have more pride in it. Because they're not seeing it in the same way that other people are seeing it.
I think that's the difficulty with like subjectivity though, man, because we can always like make up our own little definitions of things that mean one thing to me and another thing to like, and that's always difficult.
Look at this brother.
Yeah.
Wait, what does that even mean?
You're one living subjective guy.
But it's difficult, bro, man, because
Before this
sometimes like it just is what it is. I don't care how subjective we try to be. Sometimes it just is what it is. For example,
in regards to
this mic stand is black, right? You're not gonna come and tell me, oh, but to me, bro, like I see a hint of grey, and I'm not trying to hear that, bro.
It's grey here.
Cool.
But what do you mean?
But the point I'm trying to make is, sometimes it just is what it is, isn't it? So like, I hear that, there may be individuals that are trying to reclaim the flag in a particular way and give it a new definition and talk about it in a different thing, but it just is what it is.
But there's way more nuance to identity politics than there is a mic stand.
I'm not talking about the identity, I'm talking about flag. Now, your identity, I can't argue against how you identify, but we can have a conversation about what that flag actually means, though. What it means to you and what it means are two different things. Yep. What it means to me and what it means to you, two different things. What it means to both of us and what it is, again, are two different things.
But is it fact what it is?
Yes, because that's been proven.
And what is that?
Racist. It's a racist flag. Point blank, period. There's no other conversation to be had about it. That just is what it is, and that's been proven. You can find so many things to back that up and then prove that it's a fact.
Cool.
That's not a matter of what I think, what I feel, what you think and what you feel. This is just what it is. But I think what the musicians, I understand from the perspective of what the musicians are doing. They're finding another way to, I guess, talk about what it means for them to be British.
Yeah.
But they could do that without the flag.
That's literally my whole premise.
But can we not, is there no hope that the flag and the meaning of the flag could change?
No.
No, it can't change.
So even if black people are here for another 6,000 years, doing amazing things, making Britain what it is.
And is the country still operating the way it is?
I mean, if it's still capitalist.
Yeah.
Bro, they got to change the flag.
They can't. Then they can't.
They got to change the flag.
You can't. I don't think that you can't change that. You can't to me. You just can't. I don't think you can. I don't think you can.
And I think with some of those artists, they blacked out the flag. So so it seems like there's a recognition there.
Even Stormzy with the stab-proof vest, it was black.
So there's a recognition there that, okay, cool. If I am going to claim this thing, I got to revamp it and make it something else.
And I'm not mad at that.
That's what I said. You got to change the flag.
That's the one I'm not mad at. Like, you see Stormzy's stab-proof vest? I wasn't mad at it. I think it was black and blue.
Yeah, it's like the Union Black as well. It's like red, green, and
what?
black. This here.
Okay. Yeah.
That there.
What's that?
It's Union Black. It's the Union Black.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah. So,
but my point being, like, if you switch it up like the way Stormzy did, I'm not mad at it, because then, cool, you're taking a hold of it and making it something. Cool. The Union Jack itself, I'm just not... Like, if you wave that or the St. George's flag, I'm just going to look at you and go, like, hey, you can't, man. You can't. We're going to act ignorant. The same day you're waving around that flag is the same day there's a protest in Oxford Circus saying, get out of my country.
And bro, no matter how much they try and reclaim it, man...
It's co-opted. It's too late.
I will never shake the feeling of being like 14 or 13 years old. Yeah, I'm going to visit some of my boys in like Slade Green or Eltham areas. Yeah, seeing these flags flying and knowing not to go down a particular road because I see these flags flying.
they're still flying.
You can't shift that feeling for me, man. So no matter how much you try and reclaim it, that flag is always going to mean what it means to me. Even today, man, like as a 35-year-old, bro, like I walk down certain roads. If I see a pub that's got these flags flying, I know what time it is. No matter how many artists come out and try and revamp it, try and talk about it in a different way, that even if they're giving certain commentary in their music, bro, that flag is just going to represent what it represents to me, man.
No, that's fair. I mean, I think it's valid on both sides. I think it's valid to feel like the perception of the flag is never going to change, but I also feel like it's obviously very, very valid that they're trying to inject some type of new meaning into
I'm
that.
not mad at that. I'm
you
not
know,
mad at that.
like they're trying. And listen, they might wake up and that's pretty much said the same thing. Like they might wake up one day and realize that this shit is corny.
I'm so curious as to what she thinks.
That might be the case. It also might be the case that their sense of Britishness is strengthened because they're rapping it and they're putting it into the music in whatever way they feel they can, and they will, sort of thing. So I can see both sides. Just from a musical standpoint, like being able to rep, you know, so many different scenes that represent Britain, and then the kind of more ideological side of like, can you actually do this? I can see validity on both sides, but it's also a thing of like, for me, the British flag and even the St. George's flag, the English flag, yeah, it will be what you mentioned. It will always represent that, and it will always represent some type of antagonism towards people like me, because history has shown that. But like I say, at the same time, I can't fault this new generation of rappers and artists trying to put a different spin on it.
I'm just not here for it. I can't tell you what to do as an artist. I can't. Who am I to tell you? I'm just not here for it. Personally, I'm not. Because then you're also selling a fake image to abroad.
Yeah, I guess my final.
I mean, they are British.
No, but that just you're selling a fake image. Like that flag does
I don't think it's fake.
To me, though. I'm just saying that flag don't represent you at all. While just living here, don't get me wrong. Cool, I get it. But that flag don't represent you. So
but I think that's part of them trying to reclaim it, though, isn't it? They're trying to reclaim it in a way that it does speak to them.
It's never.
And there are like people out there like them out there. I guess to the naked eye, that's what they're trying to do.
Yeah, and listen, if you pay attention to the UK, if you pay attention to the UK, like it's diverse, it's multicultural, right? So yeah, so to some of these artists, the British flag might represent that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree with that.
So yeah, it doesn't always mean what it means to us to other people. You know, especially if you're a few generations down, and you've just been here, and your parents have been here, sort of thing. This is all you've ever known.
I fundamentally disagree with it, but if you're going to do it, spit the real. Talk about what's going on there. I would want to hear that.
I don't think I can say I disagree, but I disagree with it.
You just said it.
But I'm like, I don't know if I can in it, because I feel I to tell them what to do. I'm just not here for it personally, innit?
You're not telling them what to do, but you're speaking to how you feel about it.
I'm just not here for it, man. I don't think you can reclaim something that's. Bro, I don't want to make it. Do you know how much blood is on the hands of that flag? Like, you can't reclaim that, man.
Yeah,
as much as you could try to, you can't reclaim that, man.
Well, I don't actually know what an official reclaiming looks like, but if a person wakes up tomorrow and says, I'm going to reclaim the British flag for it to mean something else, again, it's subjective, but ultimately, who are we
Bro,
to be
can you
like?
So can they
imagine
reclaim
somebody
the St.
trying-
George's flag? Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. What if this was the St. George's flag?
I think the St. George's flag is maybe a little different because it's England. In the sense of like, Great Britain is obviously England, Scotland, Wales. England has, I don't know, I guess it's a little bit more of a sordid history with that flag. I don't know, I just feel like it's different in a sense.
And I agree with you, but that's my point. One is, I get it, when you look at St. George's, we know what time it is. But my point is, essentially, it's two flags at the same place. So if you feel funny about one, but you don't feel funny about the other, but it's literally the same. Do you get what I mean? It's the same. You're just doing mind games. It's the same place.
That's it, yeah.
For me, they're the same, bro.
Do you get?
That's fine, but
you understand where I'm
just-
coming
yeah,
from?
same.
It's mind
Yeah.
games. It's the same thing. But I do understand that St. George's flag definitely holds a little bit more like.
It's,
The reason why I don't think
it's
it's
interesting though, because like when I see the Irish flag flying,
I'm good with that.
I don't feel the same as when I see the Union Jack or the England flag flying,
Because Ireland are,
or even the Welsh flag.
but it's different with Ireland though. The persecute, without trying to get too deep, what they went through is completely different. So we've got empathy. Well, when I say we, the empathy people have for Ireland is different compared to like. Do you get what I mean?
But to your point, like obviously the British flag, Britain is England, Scotland, Wales. Scotland, you probably don't look at the flag and think, oof, something
Yeah,
like
exactly,
Wales.
that's true.
Nothing, you know what I'm saying? Whereas with England, you probably do.
Yeah,
Definitely.
facts.
So you look at the British flag and you might think,
Oh, I see.
you might be a bit more ambivalent to it because it's encompassing not just England. You know what I'm saying? But obviously, being black and British and from being from London,
I think it's mind games.
you know what I'm saying? I don't think it's
mind
necessarily mind games, but
it's mind games.
listen, man. To wrap it up, listen, man. These artists, you're obviously trying to find some kind of place for yourselves artistically and I suppose in terms of identity. This is an interesting way to do it, and I feel like, you know, when people look at those guys repping the Union Jack, they're not thinking in the same way as they would a white person doing it, which I think inherently is the point. And I feel like, yeah, as long as it continues to happen, I'm sure that they'll continue to push this idea that this flag means something else. So
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I hear you, man. Just you won't see me have a flag anytime soon. Put it that way,
shock.
unless it's.
Yeah, man.
It's interesting, bro, because I would never. That's crazy. I would never even buy like the England football kit. I don't none of that, bro.
You know, I've never had an England kit a day in my life.
No, some of the England kids bang, to be fair.
Have you had one?
No.
Would you get one?
That's
I
even
don't know.
Actually,
quite
no,
interesting,
because then
though,
that's
innit? It's
I don't
quite
know.
interesting.
I'm-
I don't know.
that's a very, and I know you wrapped up, but that's a very good point I didn't think of. If I'm not even
That's how I
comfortable
think
enough-
about it.
No, that's a very good point though, because I've never worn an England top.
I've never felt comfortable enough to buy
Never.
one. Ever.
Maybe it's the Euros, the World Cup, whatever. I've
Yeah,
never
man.
worn one.
And I think the red one in '98 was cold, but
And the grey one.
I didn't like the grey
The
one.
grey one was fire.
But I never felt comfortable enough to buy it, bro.
It's funny because I think it was like in the 80s. It was a politician and he was talking about cricket. And he was asking the black community, trying to test this idea of multiculturalism. If England were playing the West Indies in cricket, who are you going for? Who you rooting for? And that was seen as controversial because it's a very crass way of trying to show that people who aren't from here have allegiance to here, sort of thing. But it's kind of real. If we just think about like freaking England, Nigeria in the World Cup, who we repping? Who do we want to?
Nige.
Who are we rooting for? We're rooting for
We
Nige,
rep
sort of
Nige,
thing.
bro.
We're
We
rooting
support
for
Nige.
Nige. You know what I'm saying? So it's an interesting one. It's very complex. It's very, very complex.
yeah, I mean, actually, no, I don't want to say that, man.
So,
No, I'm just gonna be like, it makes sense. Because I don't think you can ever reclaim the flag, man. It's the same country. You remember, because we were just speaking about football. When that man missed the penalty, we saw what happened. You can't. You can't. I'm so real. You can't, man. You just can't. I'm sorry.
so you can't.
Impossible. Like I'm double. It's impossible.
I'm just
to-
confirming.
It's impossible to reclaim this flag. Whether it's St. George's flag, whether it's the United Kingdom flag.
So you're saying, right now, it's impossible to claim that flag.
Yes.
Alright, cool.
Yes, I am.
Fair enough.
Honestly, go get the United Nations flag if you want to wave a flag.
Bending her back, I'm bending the law. Jeffrey's road, the Benz in the drawer, and a couple of O's, just me and the duffel on road, all black like the hair on my jaw. I seen Kitty smoking their life away, cause they ain't got a die to see out.